In today's lecture, we are going to start next unit in pharmacology and toxicology is hormone and hormone antagonists. So in this unit, we have to study then chapters. Name of this chapter, firstly, hypoglycemic agent, second one, antithyroid drugs. In hypoglycemic agent, we have to study firstly insulin, then oral hypoglycemic agents, their classification and pharmacology or pharmacokinetic. Then antithyroid drugs, then sex hormones in which male and female, and fourth is corticosteroids. So these four chapters we have to study in this unit, hormones and hormone antagonists. Firstly, you have to know about what is meant by hormone. So hormones are the chemical substances that act like messenger molecules in the body and they perform vital role in body functions and maintenance of the hormone. It is essential because there is imbalance in between the hormonal level in the body. It leads to behavioral changes. That's why their maintenance or balance is necessary. So in this chapter, we have to study some hormone antagonists, particular in firstly about thyroid hormone, and then firstly we have to study about insulin, then thyroid hormone, then all the sex hormone and corticosteroid and their particular antagonist means the agent we stop or the chemical substances they stop the action of hormone, that is to antagonize the action of hormone. These agents are known as hormone antagonists. So we have to study this chapter in this unit. So let's start from the first chapter, hypoglycemic agent. What is meant by hypoglycemia? Hypo means increase or decrease?
Decrease sugar level.
Okay, so decrease sugar level. Hypoglycemic agent. Screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, before study of this hypoglycemic agent, we have to know about or you should get idea about what is mean by diabetes mellitus. When blood sugar level is increases, then what happen? Which disorder is occur?
Diabetes mellitus.
Then diabetes is occur. So we have to know about pathophysiology of diabetes mellitus. What happen in diabetic patient, their symptoms or their side effect. So diabetes mellitus मध्ये काय झालेले असते, शुगरची लेवल इन्क्रीज झालेली असते की डिक्रीज in diabetic patient. What happen?
Increase.
Increase in blood sugar level. So there is necessary or need to decrease this increased blood sugar level or blood glucose level. म्हणजे त्या पेशंट मध्ये ब्लड मध्ये असलेले जी शुगर आहे किंवा ग्लुकोज आहे त्याची लेवल कमी करणं गरजेचं असतं. So that's why for this diabetic patient in their prescription these hypoglycemic agents are prescribed. So definition of hypoglycemic agent is these are the synthetic drugs that lowers the blood glucose level and are used to treat type 2 diabetes mellitus. So there are different types of the diabetes mellitus in which type 1, type 2 diabetes insipidus, maturity onset diabetes, then juvenile diabetes. These are the different types of diabetes. So in which this hypoglycemic agent act as to cover this diabetes disorder or to treat this diabetes disorder, and they act by lower the blood glucose level in such a patient. So definition of diabetes mellitus, we can say hypoglycemic agents are the synthetic drugs or the agent that lower the blood glucose level. The agent which lowers the blood glucose level or maintain the blood glucose level in the normal is known as hypoglycemic agent, or the agent used to treat diabetes mellitus is known as hypoglycemic agent. Then they may stimulate the synthesis of insulin in pancreatic beta cells and which inhibit the production of glucose, facilitate transport of glucose to the muscle cells, and sometimes increases the number of receptor sites where insulin can be bound and can initiate the process of breaking down the glucose. So firstly, pancreas. It is partially endocrine in nature and it is a gland organ which is located in the abdomen and it is part of digestive system. It produces insulin as well as other hormones and which is helps to break down of food. त्याच्यामध्ये हे हेल्प करत असते जे पॅनक्रियामध्ये सिक्रिशन होते that hormones, insulin and other hormones, they help for the breakdown of the food material. So firstly, pancreas, it is an endocrine in nature. It is an gland, organ gland ahe. It is composed of, firstly, it consisting of two cells, beta cells and alpha cells. So alpha cells, beta cells secretes which hormone?
Insulin hormone
Sound is
secret.
audible to all.
Insulin hormone secret.
We are discussing here physiology of this hypoglycemic agent or pancreas. So in which pancreas, it is a partially endocrine in nature. It is composed of cells. So in which secrete the hormone. The cells मध्ये hormones secrete केले जातात. So the hormones and these secreted hormones which regulate the blood sugar level. ते काय करतात? Blood sugar level regulate करतात. So in which two cells are there, alpha cells and beta cells. Here you know beta cells, they secreted the insulin. So insulin, it is secreted by beta cells of islets of Langerhans of the pancreas. So islet of Langerhans means it is group of pancreatic cell. Then alpha cell secrete which hormone? Any
Glucagon.
idea? Okay, glucagon, it is secreted by alpha cell. So in which firstly alpha cell secrete glucagon hormone and this glucagon hormone, it is converted into the glycogen. When this hormone is secreted or released, then it is stored in the form of glycogen. कोणत्या फॉर्म मध्ये ते स्टोअर केलं जातं? Glucagon, glycogen. Alpha cell secretes the glucagon and this glucagon, it is converted into the glycogen and this glucagon, it is stored in the form of glycogen. Then this glycogen is converted into glucose. This process is known as glycogenolysis. Do you know about this term? Glycogenesis, glycogenolysis, glycolysis, glycogenesis. Yes or no? Do you know about these terms? माहिती आहेत का हे
Yes, ma'am.
terms? Glucogenolysis, glycogenesis. Lysis means
Breakdown.
okay. So you are already studied the cycles in 12th and also in BCP biochemistry मध्ये झालेत. Krebs cycle, urea cycle, glycogenolysis. So in which you all this part might be covered in this cycles conversion. So alpha cells secreted glucagon which is converted into glycogen. So glucagon, it is stored in the form of glycogen and then this glycogen is converted into glucose. This process is known as glycogenolysis. Then second, beta cells, they secrete insulin hormone and this insulin hormone, it is converted into the excess of glucose and this excess of glucose converted into the glycogen. Insulin, it is converted into excess of glucose. Glucose means sugar and this excess of glucose, it is converted into glycogen. There is in which there is formation of glycogen. So this process is known as glycogenesis. Here we discuss two terms. Glyconeogenesis. Genesis means synthesis or formation of glycogen and glycogenolysis. From alpha cells, their secretion glucagon and their term glycogenolysis, and from the beta cells, hormone is secreted insulin, and it is termed as their conversion into the excess glucose, then which is converted into glycogen. It is termed as glycogenosis. Then glucose, it is in the carbohydrate or in protein. ग्लुकोज कशामध्ये येत आहे शुगर
Carbohydrate.
टेल मी द एक्झाम्पल्स ऑफ शुगर
Glucose,
Tell me the
fructose.
carbohydrate which is
Fructose.
okay, so these are the carbohydrates such as glucose, maltose, fructose, lactose, sucrose, saccharin. So these are the carbohydrates, cheap carbohydrates. They are consumed. Starch is also in the carbohydrate. Do you know about polysaccharide, disaccharide, monosaccharide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these are the carbohydrate and their examples are this: lactose, sucrose, maltose. So polysaccharide means how many carbohydrates? One or two? More than two. Disaccharide means two. And monosaccharide means
One more minute.
one. Okay, so these ingested carbohydrates are digested by the enzymes. Means these polysaccharide, sugars, disaccharide, they are ingested carbohydrate and they are digested by any enzymes. And that enzymes present in the body, they help to digest this carbohydrate. So salivary gland or saliva, it contains which enzyme? Saliva contains an enzyme. Tell me the name of this enzyme.
Salivary amylase.
Okay, salivary amylase. So this salivary amylase is helps to convert this carbohydrate or polysaccharide into the means conversion starch to maltose. The polysaccharides जर suppose they are two म्हणजे त्याच्यामध्ये टू कार्बोहायड्रेट असतील पॉलिसॅकॅराइड मीन्स मोर दॅन टू तर त्याचं कन्व्हर्जन सिंगल मोनो मध्ये करण्यामध्ये डाय मध्ये करण्यामध्ये हेल्पफुल असतात सो स्टार्च सॅलिव्हरी अमायलेज इट कन्वर्ट द स्टार्च इनटू द maltose then acid hydrolase it is present in where
Stomach.
in GIT tract. Then pancreatic amylase, maltase, lactase. Maltase, it is an maltase invertase. It is an intestinal juice which convert म्हणजे intestine मध्ये असतं ते maltase invertase. This enzyme convert the juice, intestinal juice. It converts disaccharide, maltose, lactose, sucrose into monosaccharide. म्हणजे पॉलिसॅकॅराइड असतील तर ते डायसॅकॅराइड मध्ये कन्वर्ट करण्यामध्ये हेल्पफुल आहेत and if the carbohydrate is in the form of disaccharide then it will be converted into monosaccharide. So these enzymes are helpful to the conversion of carbohydrate or this polysaccharide, disaccharide and monosaccharide. So this maltase invertase it is present in the intestinal juice which convert disaccharide maltose, lactose, sucrose into the monosaccharide glucose. So this is about physiology of or in general information about pancreas and hormones or the enzymes they are present in the body. Then next point. So because of this maltose invertase, which help to conversion of disaccharide into the monosaccharide glucose, it is helpful for मग ते ग्लुकोज मध्ये कन्वर्ट झालं मग ते ग्लुकोज कशासाठी अवेलेबल असेल ग्लुकोज which is available in the body for
Energy.
energy, that is ATP. So this glucose available which is utilized by the tissue for the as a ATP means as a energy source ऍज पर द रिक्वायरमेंट. जशी रिक्वायरमेंट असेल तसं ते ग्लुकोज ऍज अ एनर्जी सोर्स म्हणून बॉडी फ्लुइड्स मध्ये किंवा बॉडी टिश्यू मध्ये अवेलेबल होतो. इट इज postulated that healthy individual utilization of glucose which is derived from the daily ingested foodstuffs which is occur as follows. 3% stored in the liver. म्हणजे जे हेल्दी इंडिव्हिज्युअल्स आहेत त्यांच्यामध्ये ग्लुकोज, हेल्दी इंडिव्हिज्युअल्स मीन्स वी ऑल, in which utilization of glucose, how it is occur, so it is occur from the ingested food. जे आपण इंजेस्ट करतोय त्याच्यापासून ते ग्लुकोजचं युटिलायझेशन होतंय, प्रोडक्शन होतंय. सो इट इज occur as follows. 3% of stored in the liver. 3% लिव्हर मध्ये स्टोअर केलं जातं. मसल्स मध्ये also as a glycogen म्हणून स्टोअर केलं जातं. मीन्स ग्लायकोजनचं अगेन कन्वर्टेड into the glucose. Then 30% converted into the fatty acid and rest enters from the Krebs cycle. Do you know pathway of Krebs cycle? Yes or no? Krebs cycle तरी माहितीये का?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so rest of the glucose utilization, it is from the enters from the Krebs cycle and it is partially from the energy production and partially synthesized from amino acid. म्हणजे जे ATP energy synthesis आहे तिथं partially utilize होतं and remaining will be from synthesis of amino acid. Another name for Krebs cycle, can anyone tell?
Tricarboxylic cycle. Yes.
And also citric acid cycle, citric acid cycle. Okay, the next point is, okay, up to this, you understand in general introduction what is meant by hypoglycemic agent, pancreas secreted which hormone? हे समजले?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get the general introduction?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can anyone tell the definition of hypoglycemic agent? Hypoglycemic agent, as per their name, what we can say, what is definition?
The agent that lower the blood glucose level. Glucose level in blood.
Hypo means lower. So also we can say these are the pharmacological agents that are given in treatment of diabetes mellitus or given to treat the diabetes disorder. And also they lower the increased blood sugar level and make it normal. So this agent is known as hypoglycemic agent. Boys said, what is definition of hypoglycemic agent?
Hypoglycemic agent are synthetic drugs that lower blood sugar level.
Up to फक्त लोअर डायरेक्ट ते लोअर करतात मग आफ्टर दॅट हायपोग्लायसेमिया डिसऑर्डर होईल. जर का सपोज इफ देर इज इनक्रीज इन ब्लड शुगर लेवल देन व्हॉट वी कॅन से फॉर दिस डिसऑर्डर? डायबिटीज, राईट? ब्लड शुगर लेवल वाढली तर आपण त्या डिसऑर्डरला काय म्हणतो?
Diabetes.
आणि जर कमी झाली तर काय म्हणतो? शुगर लेवल कमी होते, होते की नाही?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
As a sugar, if the blood sugar level is lower, then what we can say for this disorder? Which term is used?
Hypoglycemia.
Hypoglycemia. And we are studying here hypoglycemic agent. So,
Ma'am,
in their definition, as per you are saying these are the agents they lower the blood sugar level. But lower करतात मग hypoglycemia होईल.
No, I know.
Up to
Use
which
it to
level?
treat diabetes.
Normal level पर्यंत decrease करायचं.
Normal ती
Diabetes
definition
mellitus.
बरोबर आहे. it lowers the blood sugar level, but you have to write or add 1 point up to the normal level. Normal range किती आहे blood sugar level? Less than 140 mg per dl. एवढी आहे. जर त्याच्यापेक्षा आणखीन लोअर झाली, then it leads to which disorder?
Hypoglycemic.
And if they increase the level, blood sugar level than 140 mg per dl, then what happen?
Diabetes mellitus.
Okay. So did you get two concepts, diabetes mellitus and hypoglycemia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next point is diabetes mellitus म्हणजे hypoglycemic agent. आपण कोणत्या डिसऑर्डरच्या ट्रीटमेंट मध्ये देतोय?
Diabetes mellitus treatment मध्ये देतोय.
Okay, so in diabetic patient, so we have to know about what is mean by diabetes mellitus. जसं आपण previous chapters मध्ये anti-Parkinson, anti-anxiety. Firstly, what is this disorder? And after their definition, classification, तर त्या ट्रीटमेंट मध्ये ते दिलं जातं मेकॅनिझम जे बघत होतो. We have to study same pattern about this chapter. So firstly, diabetes mellitus, it is a disorder. Diabetes, it is a chronic. Chronic means long term or long time disorder. It is a group of metabolic disorder. Metabolism means metabolic. What is mean by metabolism? Sound is audible to all?
Yes.
ADME. What is mean by M?
Metabolism.
Metabolism.
Then what is mean by metabolism?
Conversion
What
of
happens?
compound to
Liquid soluble compound.
Conversion.
Water soluble compound.
Simply we can say there is conversion of complex molecule into the simpler form. म्हणजे आपल्या बॉडीमध्ये जी मेटाबॉलिझम प्रोसेस होते त्याच्यामध्ये काय होतं, जे आपण इनटेक केलेलं फूड मटेरियल आहे त्याचं कन्व्हर्जन एनर्जी मध्ये चयापचय प्रोसेस ती जी प्रक्रिया आहे that is metabolism. So this is diabetes mellitus. It is metabolic disorder. If there is disturbances in the metabolism, then this disorder is occur. So it is characterized by high level of sugar in the blood. That is hyperglycemia. So diabetes, it is a chronic type of disorder or disease, and it is metabolic disorder that is occurred due to the metabolism and which is characterized by high level of sugar in the blood. That is hyperglycemia. It is caused due to deficiency of insulin. Insulin, it is secreted in which cells
Beta
or which
pancreas.
organs?
Pancreas.
Beta cells of islets of Langerhans of pancreas. So what is function of insulin? Role of insulin.
The level of
Maintain.
Repeat again.
maintain the sugar level.
Okay, so insulin, it is secreted in our body in the beta cells of islets of Langerhans of pancreas. And here, when it is secreted or releases, then it regulates the body energy supply and also regulate the sugar level in the body. So if there is deficiency of insulin, जर का बॉडी मध्ये इन्सुलिनची डिफिशियन्सी असेल, then it leads to काय होणार आहे, आपोआप ब्लड मध्ये शुगरची लेवल जास्त होणार आहे. then it leads to hyperglycemia and that hyperglycemia leads to diabetes mellitus. How diabetes mellitus is occurred? Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
समजते का?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We are discussing pathophysiology of diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus, it is a metabolic disorder as well as it is a hereditary disorder. Hereditary माहिती है?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the word diabetes, it is introduced from the Greek, introduced by Greek physician. हा firstly Greek physician नी introduce केलेला आहे. So the word diabetes, it means to flow through, and it was introduced by Greek physician in 1st century AD. Mellitus, it means sweet, and in presence of sugar in the urine of diabetes, it was demonstrated by Dobson in 1755. म्हणजे फर्स्ट काय डिस्कवर झालं की देर इज इन्क्रीज लेवल ऑफ शुगर इन ब्लड. हे डिस्कवर केलं एरियंटियस सायंटिस्टनी. It is a Greek physician. After that, Dobson in 1755 demonstrated that there is presence of sugar in the urine of diabetes. Then it is stated that there is dysfunctioning of the beta cells of pancreas. म्हणजे जर का इन्सुलिन त्याचा ऍज पर जो रोल आहे, इफ दिस रोल इज म्हणजे तो रोल मेंटेन नाही केला तर काय होतंय, इट लीड्स टू डिसऑर्डर. आयदर इट इज डायबिटीज mellitus or hyperglycemia or hypoglycemia. So there is necessary to maintain the role of insulin. When diabetes mellitus is occur, then their symptoms are given blurry vision, that is blurred vision, thirst, excessive thirst. Thirst means
तहान लागणे.
लागणे.
fatigue,
थकवा येणे.
frequent urination, hunger, weight
Hunger.
loss. Remaining symptoms, you know about it. They are commonly seen in the diabetic patient. So this is about pathophysiology of diabetes mellitus. Then signs and symptoms. Same again. The early symptoms are untreated in the mellitus. They are relative to elevated. Elevated means increased blood sugar level and loss of glucose in the urine, that is glycosuria. High amounts of glucose in the urine can cause the increased urine output and it leads to dehydration. Dehydration means
Lack of water.
Loss of water.
Lack of water.
okay, so high amount of glucose, it is excreted in the form of urine, then it can cause increase the urine output. Urine output increase hota and it leads to dehydration, means there is deficiency of water or lack of water. Then their next symptom is increases thirst. It is again same point, and water consumption, that is hunger. So these are the symptoms of diabetes mellitus. It is chronic disorder, chronic and acute. What is the difference in between chronic and acute?
Chronic are long term
Chronic means
disorder.
long term and acute means short term.
आणि short term आहे.
Okay, so chronic are the long term and acute are the short term. So it is a chronic disorder of carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism which is resulting from deficiency of insulin or abnormality in the use of insulin. Means diabetes mellitus हा झाला, हे चेक करण्यासाठी कोणती टेस्ट केली जाते?
Blood.
We have to check if there is diabetes or not in any individual. Then which test is performed? Means collect the samples such as blood and urine and check out the presence of carbohydrate in it or not. Then we can identify the individual susceptible to diabetes mellitus or not. Means जर का insulinची deficiency असेल, then it leads to diabetes condition. Because of deficiency, there is no proper metabolism of carbohydrate, proteins, and fat. Screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Diabetes mellitus, it is a group of metabolic disease in which there is increased high blood sugar level over the prolonged period. Easily cover होत नाही diabetes, माहिती असेल. So it is a metabolic disorder in which high blood sugar level over the prolonged period. म्हणजे एका certain time साठी blood मध्ये sugar level high असते. It is visible in your screen if there is high glucose level, that is excessive glucose present in the blood. So कसं होतं? And if in the normal glucose is present in the blood, difference दिसतोय?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if this happens, then it leads to DM, that is diabetes mellitus. Then again, same point, symptoms. Then there are different types of diabetes mellitus, in which type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes mellitus, other specific types of diabetes, and gestational diabetes mellitus, that is GDM. Depending upon clinical types or clinical basis, again two types, maturity onset type and juvenile type diabetes. Can anyone tell the types of diabetes mellitus? Sound is audible to all.
Diabetes, type 2 diabetes, other
Type second
Means
diabetes.
it is reminder for you. Sound is audible to all. Also screen is visible. हे न म्हणता सांगता येत नाही. Question विचारला. It is visible in your screen. So tell me the classification or types of diabetes mellitus.
Type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, other specified type of diabetes, and gestational diabetes mellitus.
From clinical basis, which two types?
Maturity onset type and juvenile type.
Type.
Types.
Okay. The next point, aims of treatment means diabetes patient ला treatment ज्यावेळेस दिलं जातं तर त्याचं एम ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह काय आहेत? सो टू करेक्ट द मेटाबॉलिक डिस्टर्बन्सेस, म्हणजे त्यांची मोठ्या मेटाबॉलिझम प्रोसेस जी आहे ती प्रॉपरली होत नाही, ती फर्स्टली करेक्ट करायची. देन सेकंड, टू मेंटेन ऑप्टिमम बॉडी वेट. If the person is obese or overweight, then it is difficult to control or cover the diabetes disorder. So that's why aim of this treatment is to control the optimum body weight, to control the symptoms adequately with the diet, exercise, and the drugs. म्हणजे त्यांचे जे symptoms आहेत. What are the symptoms of diabetes mellitus?
Weight loss, hunger, fatigue.
Urination, thirst.
Frequent urination, increased thirst, increased hunger, then
Blurry vision.
bloody vision, fatigue. So these are the symptoms. So in their aims of treatment, जर त्याचं ट्रीटमेंट द्यायच्या अगोदर एम काय आहे? एम ऑफ दिस ट्रीटमेंट इज टू कंट्रोल. मग हे सगळे सिम्पटम्स डाएट मध्ये आणि एक्सरसाइज करून काय करायचे? कंट्रोल करायचे. आणि ऑल्सो टेकिंग सम ड्रग टू प्रिव्हेंट और डिले डिजनरेटिव्ह व्हॅस्क्युलर कॉम्प्लिकेशन. जे व्हॅस्क्युलर कॉम्प्लिकेशन्स आहेत ते डिले करायचे किंवा प्रिव्हेंट करायचे. So these are the aims of treatment. Means before treatment given to the diabetic patient, then the treatment given by considering these objectives. Then next point, the diabetes patient मध्ये जे एजंट दिले जातात means the agent used to treat the diabetes disorder is known as anti-diabetic agent. So ideal properties of anti-diabetic agent are the following. Screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Roll number 45. Are you present? Sushma Zure. Read the ideal properties.
First, should be effective by mouth. Second, it should be non-toxic. And third, should be correct basic metabolic defect in diabetes.
समजते का properties? Ideal properties of anti-diabetic agent. It should be effective by mouth. When it is administered by mouth, then it should be effective. Means particularly show their action as a anti-diabetic agent. Then second, what is second ideal property?
It should be non-toxic.
It should be non-toxic.
Means it should not produce any toxic effect. Then third one, it should be correct basic metabolic defect.
in diabetes.
The diabetes मध्ये जे metabolic defects आहे, defect means what is mean by defect? Other word for defect? Yes. Repeat again. Roll number 30.
डायबिटिकचा डिफेक्ट कमी म्हणजे ते कमी करतंय
No, defect means problem. म्हणजे metabolic disorder defect जे आहेत, metabolismच्या related जे problems आहेत, ते correct it should be correct basic metabolic defect in diabetes. म्हणजे diabetes patient मध्ये किंवा diabetic disorder जे झाली, त्यांच्यामध्ये जे metabolic defect म्हणजे proper metabolism होत नाही, ते metabolism proper करणारे, correct करणारे agent हे anti-diabetic agents असावे. समजलेत properties?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Boys side.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Okay, the next point is insulin. It is secreted from, then their storage, then it contains a chain, their transport, excretion, and pharmacological actions of anti-diabetic agent, that is hypoglycemic agent, is insulin. We will discuss in our next lecture. Up to this, all points clear?